Rumour has it today, this game features so many UEF experimentals, it was sponsored by a fast food joint. I can assure you that's not the case. Hello Supreme Commanders, I hope this one finds you well today. A 5 versus 5 on the old Neuroxis map gen. North versus South setup, averaging 1524 a team. Take a little closer look at the setup today. While we're doing that, one of the nicest comments I get goes something a little like this. I'm at work today, thanks for making this video, and the last hour has been a little more bearable because of it. And so if I'm quantum tunneling with you today, entangling with your senses down at work right now, a huge hello from me and everybody else here who's enjoying a little time off today. And with that drum roll complete, let's jump on in. And this game, another one of those, despite being called the Fong Summoning Circle, not managing to summon the man, the myth, the legend himself. Despite that, it's a fantastic one. North versus South setup, as we've said, as we fade in the sound there. Yellow versus red this time. And yellow team, team number 1 there up top. Team 2 down below, which is actually the opposite way round to the way that the FAF software itself has recorded it. They actually give Team 1 up at the top and give Team 1 the higher rating. So a little bit of a backwards. It's the first time I've noticed that. I'm sure some of you say, well, it happens all the time. First time for me. And so with that, let's unpause and bring our game in. We'll start over in Lilac here for Team 1. I'm going to go with the team numbers on there, the yellow team. In the corner here is exited 1700 Seraphim there going first land. Moving over to his east. In yellow is Hannibal. Seen this guy before as well in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We'll refer to him as Hannibal just as we did last time there. Going UEF first land as well, 1400. Further to his east, in deep purple over here, is Zugabi, by far the lowest rated player taking part today. The only player sub 1000. 700 rated is UEF there, also going first land. So, you know, low rating or not, at least he knows which faction is a good one. So we'll give him a pass for that. Going first land, look at that, grabs his 3 mass points. First engineer out the door, going for the Hydro. So there's hope yet. Moving further over to his east, to the south slightly, is Jagged Appliance, highest rated player today for his team, 2200. Also going Seraphim there, the old alien race in green, also going first land. And then last but not least, for his team today is No Red for You. And it would seem living up to his name there as he's in electric blue. Does, however, have some red lasers coming out of his arms there. So, No Red for You. Almost living up to his name there. It's going Cybran first land 1600. Going over then to the flip side in white. First player that we'll introduce down here, if I can find him. There we go. Is Seal Force, 1700 rated there. UEF going first land. Got his Hydro and going on second air. Over to his west in Ferrari red is Beta. Or is it better? Depends, I guess, in what context it's being used. Or where in the world you may reside. Is Aeon, first Aeon of the day there. Going first land, second air, and the 1200 is already moving into the mid with his commander. Further west then is Kalu, our French friend in UEF, also 1000 rated in orange, I'd rather say. Going first land, second land, and third land. And where is he? There he is there. So apologies to you, sir, if I get your name wrong. Or to anybody else in France that says it's Koulou, don't you know? No, I did GCSE French. I only got a B. And even that was a bit of a stretch for me. Moving further back then, in the rear, no doubt doing the No Red for You's opposite number is Citrus 984. Now, if that's supposed to be Citrus 1984, but ran out of characters, or just Citrus 984, I'm sure somebody knows of a film, so don't you know, haven't you heard of? No, I haven't. Either way, we'll refer to him as Citrus there. 1600 rated, also going Aeon. Looks like first land, second air, and is getting that fast mass extractor upgrade. Already at 80% at 3 minutes 20. And then last but not least, and we'll slow time down just a tad as we introduce this guy. Already see some bombers moving out on the minimap. Is Build More Sams. Going first land, second air in burgundy red, also going UEF. So there's an awful lot of UEF today. Perhaps that goes some way to explaining why we see so many UEF experimentals in this one. At least rumour has it that we're going to. And as we resume full pace then, all the introductions they're done. Let's have a little look how this bomber goes. So Build More Sams. We'll take a look at what he can see. And if I hold shift, so you can see there the scout looking for engineers, and he's chaining up the attacks there. So there's the first one. He's managed to get a second one here. There's another one here. And of course, the lock that the bomber gets with the engineer does maintain itself through the lack of radar coverage. So I'm not sure if he just locked that one up there. Or was it one of these? Here it is. And you can see as soon as that radar image pops back on, the lock remains. And with that, there's 2 kills. Now 3 and 4. And with that, exited shoots him down. So nice work there. 4 engineers, always worth it, I think. Certainly early doors, especially when at least one of them was quite some distance from the base. Of course, been worth a lot more than those 2 at the end that were right next to the factory door. All right, quick look elsewhere. Relatively quiet over on the east side. Got no red for you moving down there with Jagged Appliance looking to support the line there. Perhaps Seal Force a little slower to reach the halfway mark. See a tank here from Jagged Appliance. The Seraphim. It's already got itself a kill. Let's check back up here what all this shooting is about. Little run by there with Build More Sam. Look at that. He was about to pull back but realised superior forces, and so instead continues on with the run by. Exited wise to it though. Got scout aircraft as well as some scout units here, and is looking to shut that down. I think most of those are scouts anyway, and in fact they are. These 2 are both scouts. Only 1 striker in that mix there. That's already been shut down. And these 2 scouts, well, they're going to need all day to try and tickle something to death. As Exited tries to repay the favour with a little run by of his own. He's got 1 scout and 4 strikers. An engineer here from Build More Sams in the nick of time gets itself a point defence online. So 2 commanders there going head to head. Quick look elsewhere. Hannibal looking very strong, having certainly established his sector. It's questionable whether this mass point belongs to Hannibal. Does seem a little closer to Exited's base. Could, however, be Exited has got a couple more mass points over here. Not entirely sure what the thinking is there. Either way, he doesn't seem too upset about it. We see Kalu coming up here. Doesn't really matter that he's not presenting the best front there with his units. He's only got a solitary engineer to contend with that was trying to put a wall section down, panicked, and then go for the point defense. Always go for the point defense first, then the wall, but in this case, wouldn't have mattered anyway. The units were far too close. Quick look over here. Beta. Mind a little run by here on some of Jagged Appliance's most outlying mass points there. And 2 Auroras. Auroras, I really like Auroras for taking out mass points. They just seem to be particularly good at it when compared to any of the other tanks. I'm not sure I'm just imagining things or what, but every time I've seen an Auroras do run-bys, 2 of them seem to chew through a mass point right quick. A quick check back over here. Citrus making a visit as well to the front line there. And no red for you. I do beg your pardon. Citrus is way back here. Feels perhaps a little 2v1-ish. We do have Zugabi now, slowly making his way towards the mid. Of course, we can forgive him for being a little late to the parties. After all, slightly lower than most, but it just feels like most of the action thus far taking place on the west side. Certainly the non-stop tank firings that I can hear is in large part thanks to these 2 players. And Exited now on 7 minutes 50 some seconds, going for the gun. Is still a bear commander. and does not, at least not yet, have an engineer in the area to assist. Let's have a look economically. Well, energetic-wise, he can afford it. Mass-wise, well, it's fair to say he's stalling. If you are concerned about getting a fast gun and you are stalling on mass, it's always worth pausing a couple of your factories or a couple of your mass extractor upgrades. Perhaps putting a couple more engineers on reclaim duty just to try and get that done. Of course, the longer you're routed to the spot, the more vulnerable you are. Look back here, looks like Buildmore Sams is pulling back quite a long ways with his commander. We zoom out. Yeah, looks like he's just about, I would say this line here is about 50 way, and so it's not an entirely symmetrical map. Perhaps there's a couple, yeah, there we see the same mass points here, and so, yeah, it's like Kalu is pretty much central, at least exerting dominance there for now. We see a few units here from Beta as well trickling up. I was currently working on a tiny little probing attack from Zugabi there. Zugabi, unlike most complete nubs, realizing he can't win, does then bring his forces back home, doesn't just throw them away. So despite being a 700 rated, certainly looks like he's working on improving that rating. Exited, got himself the gun, now working on Tech 2. That's 40%, does have a single engineer in the area assisting, got another one working on a radar. And build more SAMs for now, just slinging a lot of scouts over. And of course, hugely important. I mean, imagine if you had the map covered in scouts, it's as if you turned Fog of War off for your team. And that's why you see the higher rated players, it's continuously scouting. Here we see Beta doing so. He's the 1200 rated. He's chucking 2 scouts up. Just a continuous trickle from all sides. Scout here. Now it's Hannibal sending one down. And so, guys, you know, those of you that sort of average and a little less, I've always thought it was worth just devoting one factory to nothing but scouts. One air factory. They're so cheap to make. Certainly at the Tech 1 stage. And exited now with his Tech 2. I'm wondering, is he going to move in? And indeed he is. He's feeling emboldened by that. He can build himself a radar if he needs, or a fast Tech 1 point defense. Even a Tech 2. And bombers passing each other in the sky there. And exited the 1700 with a pick and mix of his own in the units there. So they're not just tanks. And they are able to deal with these bombers that have been trickled in there by Buildmore Sams. And a minor little run by over here from Exited as well. See what he can get. It's like Buildmore Sams wise to that. Does have himself a point defense. And now we see some of this action taking place. Have a quick look in the middle as well. Do seem to be focusing an awful lot on the west side. It's Hannibal and Kalu go head to head. And again, always a fan of this. Hannibal knows he leads the action with his commander, and Kalu there making the mistake. And you see, that's the difference the 400 rating points make. These units are on, these tanks are on the wrong side of the commander. Hannibal shows how it's done, leads with the commander, and now he's got complete domination. He's able to swarm. Kalu, though, does have this creeping Tech 2 point defense thing going on here from the UEF. He's got 5 of them. Was it? No, I beg your pardon. It's 4 and a radar. Also get himself a flapjack on the line. That's not going to be much use when he's being swarmed. But Hannibal's already backing off with his commander, perhaps deciding that this amount of Tech 2 point defense is too much. And I think Kalu is going to get away with it. Still a large number of tanks belonging to Hannibal, and ordinarily this many tanks versus one commander is an instant win, but he's still got a couple of triads putting fire down. Together with a rank of vet, I think Hannibal blew his chance there. Not by much, but just. Quick check back over here. Build more Sams, 30 kills, having himself the gun as well. He's also got the nano repair inside 13 minutes. And exited with a very important Tech 2 point defense here. This is going to give these units, as well as the commander, something to think about. With it being a very flat map, Seraphim point defense, notoriously unreliable, hits the ground a lot. But not today. And again, that point defense, I think, with these units, got just enough kills there to dissuade Buildmore Sams from rolling through. And Bayern exited enough time to get himself another point defense online over here. Very cagey play. Finally, we see ourselves... Oh, look at this. Obsidians from Beta rolling inside Hannibal's base. Bag themselves a Tech 2 power generator. But Hannibal's got a couple of Titans here. Bring your Titans across, Hannibal. Come on. His attention must be elsewhere. Bring them in. These Obsidians going to get this power. May even get themselves the power storage, which would make a bit of a bang. Quick check over here. Seal Force pushing north. Running into defenses, though, from Jagged, who's got a bunch of Tech 2 there. The old Ilshivers, as well as the point defense in the wall. Seal Force does have the gun and is also nano as well. And then No Red For You decides to go for a Corsair snipe. Has 4 of them, and at least 3 of them instantly shot down. One of them heavily damaged, manages to get away. Seal Force, the 1700, no beginner himself, knows it's always important to sprinkle some AA in with the units. Looks like Seal Force, a little nervous that there might be another snipe on the cards, backs off. Despite having over 8,000 hit points remaining and a large force there. Units, sniper bots though, from Jagged Appliance, bringing him 2 of them in. Jagged Appliance potentially here, look at this. He was walling up point defense. I think Seal Force, quite rightly, was anticipating himself getting cut off. I suspect, had he continued to push, Jagged would have just built more point defense like this, and he'd have had no way out. You can see this large force, together with the sniper bots. Jagged Appliance, don't forget, has got the gun and his Tech 2 as well. It looks like what was a very strong attack there from Seal Force is going to wither away into nothing, especially when Jagged is tying up the attack. Tail end Charlie over here, being a couple of Otham siege tanks. Well, it's like Seal Force says it's time to send myself the Ultra Shield. And it looks like for now that's going to work for him. Jagged Appliance seems intent on putting this a stop to it. Seal Force suddenly with a bunch of pillars and Tech 2. Beautiful overcharge there from Jagged. Gets 4 of them. Jagged now retreating into a shield of his own, together with his siege tanks there. And that is going to cancel each other out. Yes, sniper bots over here from Jagged are going to continue to tip the balance. But I think the panic there for Seal Force is over. As we approach 16 minutes, 15 seconds. Just managed to bag himself a Tech 3 spy plane for his trouble. And is also now with the Spearhead. Often you see players use these, the UEF Tech 3 mobile missile launcher. Of course, can put out more missiles downrange, causing more damage, and can do so while they're on the move. Beautiful unit. And look at that, looks like there's 2 driver's seats at the front there. I wonder if they have a fight as to which one's going to hold the wheel. Tell you who is having a fight though, and that is Buildmore Sams once again with another run-by. I don't know how many run-bys he's done or attempted to do versus Exited's extreme western flank, but he's going to do it again, and this time, what's he actually got? Well, 15 Lobos. And what's on the menu? Potentially attack missile defense, a Tech 2 mass point, maybe a second. This Tech 1 going for Tech 2. And what's he got to deal with it? A single THAM, a second THAM, a couple of engineers. He is bringing Ilshiver in tow, but it's way too far behind. At least he has the foresight to move units across to prevent any more reinforcements going through. And there does go the first Tech 2 mass point. Oh no, No, not another one. I think he's going to get it. And he does. Exited tries to reclaim a couple of the engineers with his... couple of the artillery pieces with his engineers, but he's too little, too late. Mass point goes down. Very, very successful run by there from Biltmore Sams. At least 4 mass points, and at least 2 of those were Tech 2. Hannibal now, with his Titans on the line, bully away some inferior forces belonging to Kalu there. The Tech 2 pillars. Peter as well with a couple of Titans of his own is backing off, perhaps worried there of the inferior forces. And Biltmore Sams as well, perhaps a little concerned as a wall's set up, decides to control K part of the wall to allow some of his forces to get through. Or perhaps he wants to encourage Hannibal to attack through this gap so that he can attack himself. Either way, it was a questionable move. I can only assume he was trying to encourage this attack from Hannibal. Perhaps here we can see why. Biltmore Sams with Titans and Percys of his own. Perhaps he just wanted the reclaim. But is now forced to pull more forces back. Perhaps wasn't aware just entirely how much tech Hannibal had on the line. Perhaps he just assumed it was spam. And with that, a huge number of forces from Biltmore Sam. Look at this. How many forces have been pulled off the line and exited, despite being 500 points behind his opponent, is of course no nub himself. And as soon as he saw those number of forces pulled back there, he moved in to exploit the situation. And it looks like Biltmore Sams was quick to realise that. Sends a large portion of his forces back to the line. Keeps a few still pursuing this little run by. We can see some real big team play there. Beta sending bombers in. We've got gunships from Citrus, as well as some air belonging to Biltmore Sams, as well as his original force, putting to bed that run by. And with that, just a solitary shield there remains from Hannibal. That's now gone. And so, a real nice team effort from the southern team. And Exited still fancying his chances here. Now with 81 kills to his name, is a 3-star. And Biltmore Sams once again setting up a front line, this time slightly behind the 50-way mark. And so a successful attack there. Certainly, I like the diversionary attack from Hannibal. Wasn't ultimately a large success, but did cause Biltmore Sams a large distraction. We'll take a quick look. Meanwhile, in the middle, it's been relatively static. Beta's starting to work up on his forces. Got more and more harbs here in the line. The Aeon, I do like their cheeky reclaim ability. And of course, the sniper bot. There was one unit I wish the UEF could have. It would be this sniper bot. The sniper bot versus sniper bot war. We've seen Zugabi again probing the attacks a little bit so far, just going after engineers. Most of this looks like Tech 1 spam at this stage. And no red for you. What's he got here? Attack missile launcher with 8 kills, as well as a Tech 1 point defense. And so perhaps just going for isolated mass points belonging to the opponents. Relatively static over here as well on the west side. Seal Force and Jagged Appliance. Looks like they're both agreeing where no man's land is. Just a couple of very brave engineers out there reclaiming what they can. All of it still on the west side. Biltmore Samson exited, and looks like Biltmore exited rather. Big fan of the Ilshevets. I love these. Gotta be my favorite Tech 2 unit in the game. It's a walking Tech 1 point defense. I'm telling you, that is what it is. And Exited over here finds himself picked up by a bunch of gunships there belonging to Citrus. The 1600. And Exited's got to be feeling like panicking. In comes some Tech 1 interceptors belonging to Exited. They're going to get brushed aside by all these ASF. And it's not entirely clear why. But Citrus backs off. I don't get it. All these gunships were almost in full health. They'd taken off about 2/3 of Exited health, and then for some unknown reason, back off. I can't see. There was a single flak unit there in that mix, but the flak unit was further back at the time they backed off. And I still think if they'd have wanted, despite one flat unit, that they could have potentially backed exited. Citrus, if you are watching this, or anybody from the lower team, I'd love an explanation on that. Could have also been a misclick, you never know. But it does feel a little bit like the moment's been and gone. If I was exited right now, I would ensure that a couple of flat units extra get on that line ASAP. Now Build More Sam's making his first real attack with the Tech 3. The Titans, we saw him use them defensively before versus some of Hannibal's forces. To have a solitary Tech 2-point defense here, but that's not going to fare too well, especially when there's bursts as well there belonging to Build More Sam's. So I exited things. Right, time to go nano. Kalu there with a run by. Zugabi moving a shed load of forces to deal with it. Just a few artillery pieces, but left alone, those are very, very dangerous. I mean, they put so much damage. And look, for now, they were going for a Tech 2 mass point, and they almost get it. Just 300 hit points left. Hannibal benefiting from the 6 mass, but in addition to the adjacency, I'm not entirely sure how much that is. I know at some point they improved the adjacency. Adjacency used to be this paltry low figure, that it was almost... The only reason really you went adjacency was because it made your base look nice. But I'm aware that was changed at some point. Build More Sam's here, continuing to run by. Just bag himself a capped off max point there, belonging to Hannibal. And he's still got 3 of them online. May lose one of them. Oh no! He had like 100 hit points left. Does then get it. And Hannibal now at risk of losing Tech 3 mass point. I'm not sure what Build More Sam's plans are here. You can see there the advantage of having a Tech 3 mass point. Does take longer to kill. And that may mean he doesn't lose any. We'll have to see. And they'll bring in more reinforcements in. Yeah, and there you see it. Build More Sam's moves on. So he doesn't get the mass point. Does get himself a single storage, but to lose 3 Titans for a mass storage perhaps isn't worth it. And here we see mobile missile launchers firing in long-range missiles. Outranging some of the units that Exited's got to play with. Again, still relatively stacked there, despite the insane amount of action. I mean, static is the wrong word. Stalemate as well makes it sound like nothing's really moving. It's just been a huge amount of action. I'll tell you what, as we approach minute 26, let's take a quick look at the overall ecos. We've still got 5 players a team. And, yeah, so mass income... The first experimental comes online there from Citrus is 1,200 versus 1,100. And so Team 1, and in this case up top, enjoying about 100 mass per tick extra. If we look at the totals overall, which includes reclaim and all income to this point, is 850 versus 800. Also favouring Team 1. So the top team, about 50,000 mass over the course of the game between them all extra. And I think that may be in large part due to the reclaim. We've seen a lot of these attacks from Build More Sam's have been on Exited's half of the map. And by extension, most of that reclaim will have been enjoyed by Exited. Doesn't necessarily mean he came off better for it, but Build More Sam certainly keeping the pressure on. You can see is now once again way past the 50 way mark that we demarcate was about here. With experimentals all over the shop. I just want to keep my eye out. Does look like Kalu playing very cagey here. Again, we can forgive him. He's 1,000 rated, and it also looks like Citrus here. The way he's roaming around with these gunships, the Aeon gunships, so deadly now. This force I'm not sure if it could one-shot a commander, but certainly 2 shots and a commander's dead. Shielded commander, maybe 3, but certainly very dangerous, and Citrus is not throwing them away. You will see the first Ravager as well on the line from Build More Sam's, having been built behind a stealth field gen. So unless Exited gets a spy plane over there, which you can see he hasn't done, he's going to have no idea anything's there. So, I don't know, was that a single Tech 3 engineer that got a Ravager online? Not sure. And Exited now moving forward. You see here the danger. Exited has got... Oh, you can see him here. Now, this is the clue. All of these units just disappearing. And now that's going to be a huge inkling for Exited to back off. And indeed he thinks, oh, not going there. We'll have a quick look back over here. Jagged Appliance with an experimental. The first one I think that we saw. Just guarding the front line. It's not often you see a 2200 rated player go as cagey as this. Jagged in green there, bucking the trend a little bit. Megalith now as well from No Red For You, walking up to the front line. And a GC from Better as well, guarding the line. So, very cagey play, and it looks like first one to move. Jagged Appliance heard me through the passage of the time. Don't you accuse me of being stale and static, he says, as he repositions his forces. The odd lightning tank there doing its thing. Was helpfully told the reason this tank was called a lightning tank is because it shoots lightning. It's very nice indeed. A shed load of sniper bots here from Jagged Appliance as these experimentals go head to head. Do just want to have a quick look at this battle while we also focus on what's going on over here. Looks like all the teams deciding to press. Gilmore Sam's pushing right into Exited's main base with a GC of his own. We saw that handed off to him from Citrus. Mini-map getting in the way a little bit. Lovely use here. Jagged with his sniper bots and the shields. And look at that, the 2 experimentals knocking each other out. 2 still have No Reds, Megalith, and now a Fatty. The first Fatty was seen there from Seal Force. Back over here. Large number of forces from Build More Sam's pushing right into Exited's base, as well as all of these gunships belonging to Citrus. Exited's got to be feeling a little bit like his base ain't going to live too much longer. And I really like the play here as well from Seal Force. Backing off with his Fatty. And that's going to unload a lot of damage onto the chicken bot here, as well as the Megalith, both of which have been handed over to Jagged Appliance. There's some real nice team play all around here. The guy up front dealing with the forces. For now, I want to focus into what's happening to Exited's base. We see Hannibal here redirecting his forces that were from the front line over. Got to be thinking, I need to help my pal out. Because if Exited goes down, my base is next. And it doesn't look good at all here. Exited at risk of losing everything. Is valiantly fighting on with his commander. 123 kills. Guys, if you ever see a player like this getting overrun and they're still fighting, build them an energy storage and donate it to them. They often won't have the time to ask for one. And as you can see, they're losing it and losing everything. And they're only going to remain in the game, really, if they have the ability to overcharge units. It's GC here redirected towards the Fat Boy there belonging to Hannibal. The second Fat Boy we've seen. Hannibal not stupid, flanking it with Percy's. And so the Fatty backing off from the GC together with the Percy's. Perhaps a slight mistake there from Build More Sam. Saw him split his units off, tried to get as much as he could, but ends up not finishing the job, and because of it, Hannibal keeps the fatty. And if he moves this fatty over here, which we see he's doing, may be able to shut a large number of these forces off. Exited keeps the Tech 3 land HQ. It's like Biltmore Sams recognizes that as well, sends 2 Percies back to try and finish it off. Problem is, they're eating Fat Boy fire. So the land HQ, 6,000, 3,000 hit points. One of the Percies goes down, 1,700 hit points, and the second Percy goes down. So with that exited, his commander's still alive. A couple of engineers over here. Oh, looks like Biltmore Sams wants to shut those down right off the bat. And exited himself, I think it's a Tech 2. Indeed he is. Gets himself 4 factories online. The all-important point defense. And factories order a day. Build capacity, build capacity, build capacity. Love what Biltmore Sams has done here. Just left 1 unit in the back. That can cause a lot of problems when you're not expecting it. Meanwhile, we'll check back down over here. Jagged's units there, mostly sniper bots. And Kalu gets in close and personal. That forces the sniper bots to back off a little bit. And the fatty's here as well from Seal Force. He's got 2 of them on the line, a 3rd one coming in. Yes, Jagged does have a full health chicken bot bearing down on him. As well as Megalith over here from Jagged, and it looks like he's redirecting his forces going towards the center, deciding against going straight into Seal Force's main base. And now, with the emergence of the first UFO on the line as well, does crush the Megalith. Thanks to Citrus, and that seems to have been enough for Jagged. Gets him to pull back. Seal Force continues to roll. His Fat Boy's up. The 3rd one coming to join. Citrus again hanging back with his UFO, using it as a mobile SAM site. And now this air engage. No red for you. Tangoing with Citrus. The ASF there looking pretty even in number. But again, you've got a SAM site here for one of the players. Or at least an AA site with massive range. You can see there that's just picking off ASF there as they retreat. And the wall of Fat Boys here belonging to Seal Force. Again, looking a little dangerous there for Jagged. I don't know how many Fat Boys you want to allow your opponent to build up. Looks like Biltmore Sams is joining in with the old fatty game as well. Flanking it with Percies, Shields, Titans. You name it, he's got it. With a UFO overhead from Citrus as well as some ASF. The Zagabi making another probing attack. This time, Titans. No longer the Tech 1 spam we saw before. Hannibal with his fatty back on the line as well. That run by that we saw there, the remnants of those forces from Biltmore Sams have been tidied up. We've seen it done quite a lot of damage to the back of Hannibal's base as well. Here we see exited, how quick he's been able to re-establish. Don't forget he lost everything. He had 1 Tech 3 land HQ, which was a crime for Biltmore Sams to leave alive. He had that and his commander that was Tech 2. And a couple of Tech 1 engineers over here that was soon wiped out. And you see just how quick having that can re-establish. More land factories, build engineers, there's your build capacity. And looks like they're exited and now going for Tech 3 on his commander. So the fatties over here. Now 4 of them from Seal Force putting pressure down. Where is Seal Force back? Oh, he's back. Wade's back in base. What's he got? Gun and Nano. No Tech. Working on more fatties there. There's fatty number 5. And that, yeah, it's going to shut down all of this spam or whatever else Jagged is trying to do. You're going to have to switch gears when you see this many UEF experimentals rolling towards your base. And now you can see Jagged Appliance demolishing his own wall to allow his army to escape. previously being used to prevent the enemy from entering. Of course, the fatty cares not for walls. Build more Sams with 2 fat boys of his own on the line. And I love the way Citrus is using his UFO back here. His donut, 53 kills, full health. He's using its anti-air capabilities. Check back over here. The chickens are making a move belonging to Jagged there. So 4 chickens versus 4 fat boys. Does he know what they are? Has he been scouting? Well, not really. Most of these dots are grey. Go back to global view. And quite rightly backing off with the fatties as the chickens approach. Another fatty rolling onto the line as well. And what we talking here? Half health, almost full, almost full. And so the fatties, together with a GC though, back here from Beta. So whether any of these chickens break through or not, I think the G... What's he doing? Seal Force, no! Oh my goodness. 38 minutes, 15 seconds. The first player going down from the South team. Jagged Appliance, right quick on the mistake there. Unsure if that's a misclick or what. Let's move the Mac back up. Seal Force, lol. Lol indeed. I can only assume it was a misclick, and by the time he figured it, it was far too late. So he can let us know. And with that, the first player going down base goes over to build more Sams. Let's have a quick look at the aftermath with the experimentals. Well, looks like all 4 of the chickens did bite the dust. And whether it cost a fatty or not is not immediately clear, but there are still 4 fatties here that are now under the control of Build More Sams, together with the GC there from Beta that is basically full health as well. We'll check back in over at the top. Very nice. This was this Titan that we saw that Build More Sams left behind. Just look at what it's been able to do. 21 kills, it's 4-star, and it's just having its way at this Tech 3 mass point that Exited is continuously trying to repair, and he's going to lose the fight. And each one of these engineers was paying 8 mass per tick to try and keep it alive. Attention must be elsewhere. Chicken now from Exited versus a fatty there. Fatty, come on. Take this out, surely. Cough on it. Sneeze on it. There we go. Oh my goodness. It does bag itself the Type 3 mass point. Exited finally wise to it. Rushing some point defense. How many kills? 33, 34, 35. 35 kills, including a Tech 3 mass point, and all of the engineers are leaving 1 Titan behind after a battle. Guys, make notes. If you're not already 2200, make notes on stuff like that. Kalu there pushing through. I'm going to have a quick look. Down south, Beta, he's been a bit quiet, working on yet another GC. 1 almost done, another 1 almost ready. Oh, what's this? I started on a Paragon, just 44 hit points out of 5,000. And so not even 1% done. We'll have to check back on that in a bit. Not sure he'll be able to finish it, though. And no red for you. See how many air he's got thus far. 218 versus Citrus, who's got 294, and so a large advantage to the southern team right now, the light blue, and a large wave of scouts there from No Red for you, living up to his name, going after the red players belonging all on the other team. So the name fits, but look at this wall here of fat boys and Build More Sams. I'm not sure how many is critical mass, but you get to a number of fat boys and just nothing can get near to them due to the barrage of fire that they can just continue to lay down, outranging every other experimental unit. check back up here. Build more Sams once again with 2 fatties on the line, working on the third, and a shed load of units there with millions. No exaggeration of the UEF mobile shields. This is just real nice. Real nice play. Big attack once again there from Kalu. Let's have a look where. Oh my goodness! No red for you! Telebasers into the back of Citrus's base. The air grid. No. And no red for you's already queued his jump out. Then decides, no, I don't need to. Tries to bag himself some more. I'm not sure if the southern team have recognized it yet. He's got the entire air grid of Citrus, who now looks like he's just realized rushing some oblivion. Tech 2-point defense. There goes the ping. In comes the first bomber. I think no red don't care. He's out of here. Where did he go to? Well, into the back corner of his base. As safe as it can go. Well, it's not often you see a telesnipe where people don't get greedy and try and get a commander. But in this case, no red for you. I think goes for something much more valuable. A huge air grid. And by extension doesn't hand the strongest player on their team even more resources. Instead takes a load of resources from the opposing team. Very nice play. Let's have a quick look at the old chicken bot here. You can hear it tickling away. Having crept down the east side into the side of Build More Sam's secondary base that was handed off. 87 kills. It's a 3-star, now a 4-star. Going for fusion plants. Got itself the nuke defense. Let's have a couple of Rambo support commanders working on it. Maybe a third now. And I think they will eventually get it. Does turn into a 5-star. And looks like Jagged knows he's going to lose it. And is just happy to walk it into the back of Build More's base. Lovely chicken bot there. Very high value. Citrus, pick your bombers up. Pick your bombers up. Maybe not. Focus on something else instead. And with that, Build More Sam's. For fuck's sake, he says, having realized now long-range Tech 3 artillery raining across as well. And the best part of Citrus's base has gone up, as well as Build More Sam's secondary, all inside about 1 minute. We'll see what that's done to the team. And again, Hannibal, look at this. What a team player. Redirecting units over. Aware there that exited still a little light. A couple of chicken bots there. Having gone down, thanks to the overwhelming forces from Build More Sam's. We saw the fat boy. 2 of them looks like they've gone down. But with another one here, together with all these land forces. And Hannibal this time. Not just plugging the line, but counter-attacking. First nuke out today. Where's that coming from and going to? Well, Hannibal's the one who's firing it. It's trending south, southeast. And it looks like it could be either a waste or a defensive nuke. There's a nuke defense. Oh my goodness. 5 fatties. And then there were 2. That was a lovely defensive nuke there, taking out a huge amount of firepower. Beautifully read that retreat with those fat boys. Excellent value. And with that, things starting to unravel a little bit for the team down south. I like what Beta's doing here. Moving forces across. Trying to make up for it. But sends 2 GCs versus 2 chickens. The chickens enjoying the shield use. And now this GC appears to be going down for naught. Ping's going down there as if to say, dude, what you doing? I think it's too little too late. 2 chickens win 2 versus 0 versus the GCs there. Now we got the Rambo presets here from Billmore Sams. They're going up against the chickens. One of the Rambos goes down. It's like Kalu chucking Tech 1 bombers at the chickens, just anything. And this GC here from Beta, much better played. Residing behind the hills there. Residing behind the shield. Not you. And that's going to get some fire. Keep firing on the heavily damaged. Don't move. Just keep firing on this chicken. There it goes. There's your rank of vet. And that Ion Storm should hopefully neutralize the second chicken. And together with these Percys, perhaps moved in a little too quick, but the Ion Storm... chicken gets a rank of vet. We'll take a look. Where's this nuke? This time from Billmore Sams. Going into Exited's base. Oh, Exited's commander's there. Oh, he fly. Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Bang. This time Exited's turn to lose the old experimental. Got a fat boy, maybe even a chicken. Exited manages to get away unscathed. Once again blowing a hole wide open. Exited's front door. And it looks like Billmore Sams is intent on rolling straight through. Bunch of Percys and Titans here. What's Exited going to fight back with this time? Quick look back over here. Just non-stop action at this stage. Fat boy here, belonging to Billmore Sams, getting chased down by a bunch of siege tanks that have gotten up right close thanks to Jagged. Shield about to go down. There it goes. Fat boy's going to lose health real quick. But the siege tanks from Jagged firing at some questionable targets. Go after the fat boy. Now half health. Go after the fat boy. Forget the mass extractor. And so Jagged says, look, I've got it. I've got fighter bombers coming in. And they do bag and sends the fat boy there. Oh, and look at this. No red for you. Has teleported. This is the Telemazer commander. Over here. Gets him sent a stealth shield online. And is now working on the tactical missile launchers. All run by from Hannibal. You've seen Hannibal just supporting players left, right, and centre. Looks like Kalu's making him pay. Working in some land armies there. And no red for you. What? No red for you has quit. Not entirely sure why. With his secret stealth base. And there he goes. That is unfortunate. Yeah, but para's slow, says Beta. What para? Well, got a defense sat overhead from Zugabi. Oh, the Paragon. 4,500 out of 5,000. Yeah, one of the earlier casts I made on this channel, I missed it. Was on the gap. I missed one of the teams working on a Paragon. I was focusing on all the units around it, but missing the Paragon. And people still comment on that to this day. I'm never going to be allowed to forget that one. Well, here, I'm trying to make up for it. There's your Paragon with its ball of glory hovering atop of it. And there it is. Comes online. The Southern team suddenly enjoying near infinite amount of resources. Citrus knows where his air needs to be. Looks like Jagged knows where his army needs to be. With a chicken in tow. What sort of build capacity? Oh my goodness, he's trying to build how many GCs at once? Well, problem is not the eco. Problem is build capacity. Oh, the TAC missile launchers here from Jagged. It's like they get shot down or hit plane. Wasn't entirely obvious what happened there. The sniper bots here. Together with the chicken. Oh, this is right dicey, Beta. Yes, you've got your Paragon. UEF defense sat. You've got your chicken encroaching. And... oh. Oh my goodness. 2 experimental bombers from Jagged make everything else a mute point. dropping off a bomb each, then get shot down. And if the bomb were enough, the wreckages of the bombers certainly will be. And with that, the base there belonging to Beta, as well as Beta himself, goes up nuclear style. And suddenly it's a 4 versus 3. And artillery continuing to rain down, although it does look like we've got some return fire now from Biltmore Sams. Got himself 2 Dukes online, working on some more. Starting to feel like the southern end of his main base is collapsing a bit. What was left there belonging to Beta gets handed over to Biltmore Sams, but not really a great deal. He's still fighting valiantly with this Fatty. Fatty there from Kalu gets thrown in. This is how not to use a Fat Boy, just throwing it headlong into superior enemy forces. But a real nice nuke. This is a shed load of Percy's. Forgive me for pausing. I just want to see how many kills this nuke gets. Now we know or strongly suspect the nuke was fired from here. Currently 104 kills. Kaboom! There's the impact. So let's have a quick look now. 155. So 51. Most, if not all, Tech 3 units, most, if not all, were Percy's. Is one nuke versus worth 51 Percy's? Well, absolutely. Especially if they're bearing down on your base and you've got very little to stop them. Fatty there from Biltmore Sams gets picked off, gets too close. And a nuke there inbound to Biltmore Sam's main base gets shot down. He's got an anti-nuke with 4 missiles in the clip, so must have had 5. And the long-range artillery continues to fire. Looks like Zagabi's main base at risk here. And now it's Kalu's main commander. He's got a Billy. For Hannibal says, I don't care about you, Billy, because I found you. And the last shot there from the Percy finishes him off. And suddenly, Southern team find themselves with just 2 players left. It's Citrus and Biltmore Sams versus the Northern team. Jagged Appliance with another experimental bomber. Exited with an experimental bomber. Air from Jagged, and I'm not seeing any air at all from the Southern team. And I don't think Exited's going to care. I think he's just going to stroll on in like it's a Sunday afternoon, drop one off. And with that, what little of the air grid there belonging to Citrus is left. And I don't see a single SAM site or a single airplane or anything. This aircraft could hover bomb for days, should it wish. And it looks like the Southern team agree. With that, the GGs go out. Ladies and gentlemen, 54 minutes, 23 seconds. I hope you enjoyed that even half as much as I enjoyed casting it. Looks like they're writing on the wall for the Southern team. No way to hit back at the experimental bombers. Jagged Appliance with a large amount of ASF. And Experimental's moving into his own. Very, very well played to build more SAMs. Of course, we would expect that from a 2200. But I've got to say on this one, and perhaps no surprise, I don't always give a man of the match because, to be frank, I often forget. But on this particular occasion, I think it can quite rightfully go to this guy. Rating considered, Hannibal O, let's give him his name, proper name one last time. The 1400 rated UEF there, covering for Exited left, right and centre, covering for the rest of his team. And with it, ensuring his team there get the victory. And so very well played to you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for coming to join us on this one. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, wherever in the world you may be, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. From me, take care. Bye-bye.